What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I'm here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas.
Yeah.
This is the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro.
Castro.
What's going on out there, everybody? What's up, Alex in the chat, man? Alex from Big Blue in the Bronx. Make sure y'all go and sub up to my guy, Alex from Big Blue in the Bronx, man. And then his brother doing big things over there, man, on that with that channel, man. So definitely go show some support to Alex and his brother over there at Big Blue in the Bronx, man. Doing great work over there, man. Those guys, man. Adam, man, how you doing today, man?
I am good. That guy Alex, he is stealing those free cookies in Giant Stadium. I know he's got them chocolate chips on his mind because he get that in the media room. But congratulations to you and getting that. I am having a great week, Mac. Thanks for asking. And we're back at it again with another week of NFL football.
No doubt, indeed. Want to first thing start off. We want to apologize for being a day late with the show this week. I've had a really interesting week. Computer had some issues getting some things worked out with my computer. So doing this from the phone, and that's kind of what caused me not to do the show yesterday because I was still working on the computer trying to get it together. But it'll be back. It'll be back soon. But just wanted to apologize for being a day late with the show. But the show had to go on. We had to get it in, man. A lot of good speaking points this week, and we're gonna get right to it in a minute, man. We're gonna talk about these New York Giants, New York Jets game. Very ugly, messy game up in MetLife Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Pouring down rain, windy, cold, and honestly, these two bad football teams. What did you really expect to get from this football game on Sunday, man? Alex, Adam, why don't you, what was your feelings about this football game,
man? But that both these teams are not very good, to be 100% with you. That both these teams have a lot that is left on the table to be desired, which is not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing per se, but clearly offense wasn't there. And then the worst part is, like we said, we met each other at the game. Everybody, I met Mac in person. He is a real person. I am a real person. It was good to see Mac in 3D. And we got to enjoy the festivities a little bit, and Mac and I talked our brain. We tried to stay out of the trouble, you know what I'm saying? We kind of converse with ourselves. Sometimes, even talked, probably shouldn't have been talking during someone's live, but hey, you do what you do, right? But anyways, good stuff. Getting back to the game, putrid game. The rain, the game was like the weather, shitty. That's what it was like, shitty, a shitstorm. Okay, and the worst of the worst things happened. You know what, Mac? I heard a stat that the Giants had a 99.9% win percentage. Get that, 99.9% win percentage with a minute to go in the game after that Kayvon 7-0 sack. Do you know how rare it is to do what happened here? Do you know how rare that is? Rarity.
Unbelievable, man. This game was unbelievable. I didn't mean to cut you off. It drives me crazy when you watch this, when you see this game, because I hate to be the guy to say this, but if Tyrod Taylor didn't go down, I think the Giants win this game pretty easily. I mean, I feel like they win the game pretty easy, but who knows? Because maybe that would have changed the way the Jets played as well. So it's hard to even really tell. But
the Jets played the game plan the way they played the game plan. I know people are talking about, the Giants had 200 yards. Those are the 200 of the hardest yards I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, indeed.
When they knew that you couldn't throw the ball to Tommy DeVito, they said, all right, we don't care if you run. You're going to get – but at 200 yards, you amount to 10 points? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
I mean, the Giants were so one-dimensional in the second half of this football game. If Tommy DeVito, you don't have confidence in this kid to drop back and throw passes, then what was he even doing out there? What was he doing out there? I mean, you could have just went into the Wildcat the rest of the game, had at least Matt Breida and Barkley both on the field at the same time, and just kind of intermix like that, or something like that, and had an extra weapon on the field. If you're not going to have this kid ever drop back and throw a pass, because that's what absolutely ended up killing this team down the stretch. The lack of them just not throwing the ball in the second half. I mean, this team finished the game with -9 passing yards. -9 passing yards. You know how bad you have to be as a team to have -9 passing yards with not just 4 quarters of football, but with 4 quarters and an overtime. Like -9 yards. You know, the leading receiver for the New York Giants on Sunday was Darren Waller and Matt Breida. Both had 1 catch for 4 yards. That led the way for the New York Giants receivers on Sunday afternoon.
And let's be real. Let's be absolutely 100. Like that is not good. You bring up a great point. Well, I want to bring up 2 points. One, the point is you bring up a good point about Tommy DeVito. If you're not going to pass with the guy, why is he in the game? Why is he brought up in your emergency? You knew this could be a possibility because of Tyrod Taylor's history. And yet this is what you do. The second thing that irks me about this team was the fact that you put Daniel Jones out on Friday to then tell me that he had a doctor's appointment on Sunday, which you then have to turn in the paperwork at like 11 o'clock or 11:30 to find out your results to your injuries. And somehow, some way, he's cleared after the game. Why is he not the emergency quarterback? If you're that worried about Tommy DeVito playing, and the week before you waited to the last minute for Daniel Jones' diagnoses, and let's be honest, Dable's supposed to be buttoned up, right? Supposed to be buttoned up. Then why the hell do you not know that your starting quarterback has an appointment on Sunday morning? Why are you declaring him out on Friday? This could have helped. Imagine Tyrod goes down. Daniel comes in, saves the game. Could have Earl the Pearl Monroe that shit. People would have been like, look at what he did. He came back and saved our season. Instead, it makes me question everything that's going on with this franchise. Not to mention, why did we only keep 2 tight ends on the roster? Waller is now hurt, and Bellinger is not playing that well. I'm telling you right now. And I don't want to get into the Raiders too much because this game is not that much to talk about, but I still want to talk about it for a few more minutes. That Waller injury is going to be big next week. I'm telling you right now, big. First off, the Giants can't even score 10. They can't even score 10 points. They barely scored 10 points in 5 quarters of football. And you can say whatever you want. Barkley, it would have been a touchdown or blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. At the end of the day, the results are the results. If ifs and buts were Kennedys and nuts, every day would be Christmas. Okay? The end result is you score 10 points. Now, give credit to the Jet defense for keeping their team in the game and only holding the Giants to 10 points. The Jets did everything to give this game to the Giants, and the Giants did everything to give it right back to them. And finally, the Jets said, okay, we'll take it. Okay, we'll take it. Like, how in the hell do you run the behind the line of scrimmage, those little dump passes? Do something. I don't care if you throw a pick 6. Who cares? First off, you play to win. Those were Joe Judge-like calls those last few series, okay? You can't do that. I don't give a damn if the guy, like you said, Mac, if the guy was here on your 53-man roster, you put him in there. If he fumbles, he fumbles. That you can't control that. What you can control is putting him in the game and trying to win the game. You let down your players, in my eyes. You let
Absolutely.
down in my eyes. And
it's almost like you didn't even try. It's like you just gave up and said, right. I'm not going to pass the ball with this guy out there. And like, he shouldn't have been out there then. Because at the end of the day, you take opportunities, you take your shots. I mean, you never know what might have happened. But you didn't even try. You didn't even try.
You just gave up on your defense. Hope that your defense, your vaunted defense, which is not really that vaunted, right? It's good against bad teams right now. But let's call a spade a spade. They're doing a good job keeping teams at bay, right? But at the end of the day, you let Zach Wilson drive 3 plays down on you and score. If this defense was so vaunted, you don't let them score and you give it right back to your defense, right back to your offense. The problem is you played scared in the second half. This is probably the way you're going to play the rest of the way with a banged up offensive line. I don't think you're going to be ultra open it up, especially with the Darren Waller injury now gone. You have no number one target. We don't know how good Jalen Hyatt is. Rondo Robinson is not great, and then Daniel Bellinger. Like we're not going to be able to play bully ball all the time. The Jets knew it. They knew once Tyrod was out, they switched their game plan and said, "Let him run, because they knew that if they threw the football, it was going pick six the other way. They knew it, so they changed their game plan. Kudos to the Giants for trying to ride the hot hand in Barkley, but at the end of the day, Barkley got a couple good runs. He did. He got a run or two here. He broke out a couple. Okay, fine, but you can't expect Barkley to just keep plugging away. There are going to be times where they stifle it up. And how many times do we run Barkley 100 yards and lose football games? This last game was a microcosm of the New York Giants. I think this game was rock bottom. I'm not saying there's anywhere else to go up by here, but to me, that might have been the last good effort. Who knows what happens to the Raiders, but let's say they get down to the Raiders. Will they have the moxie to come back and say we can win this game? Because the last 2 weeks, 3 out of the last 2 games, you've scored, 14 points, 9 points, and 10 points. How am I supposed to go in with any confidence, regardless of who the quarterback is, and believe that we're going to do anything?
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really want to come down on the defense too much because the defense did play pretty much great football for the better majority of that football game. The second half game plan fucked the defense up, in my opinion. I mean, they were pretty much just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. How many punts did the Giants have in this game? It was like double-digit punts. Double-digit punts in this football game. That's unacceptable. The defense, I think, did play really, really good football. They held the Jets. I mean, Jets aren't an explosive offense by all means, but they kept the Jets contained for the majority of the game. And that last drive in regulation, you can't really forgive that. But at the end of the day, this is a worn-out defense at this point. A worn-out defense and a nasty day, and the offense was doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not giving you proper breaths on the sideline. Just like I said, 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out. It was absolutely ridiculous. I felt like we were only getting first downs if we happened to get a penalty or something.
Right. But
real quick, AK, I want to say what's up to AK in the chat. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. My guy, Philly B, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you too. And AK, about your question, man, you need to fire Dable. I know it sounds crazy, but you need to. Nah, that's way too drastic. That's what bad organizations do, man. Give him a chance to get his guys in here and see if he can get this thing right. He was still coach of the year a season ago, and these things are going really bad. There's been a lot of questionable coaching this year. I can agree with all of that, but I think it's a little too drastic to just go and fire him after year 2. That's what bad organizations do. And as bad as things are going for the New York Giants, we are not a bad organization by no means.
I will tell you this. The other bad coaching decision happened just now. We signed Randy Bullock as a kicker. If you know your kicker's injured, why the hell is he not on IR? Okay, I know he's your best weapon, but he clearly was hurt. And that plant leg is not good for him, right? And we're sitting here, and you know why the Giants, I think, also are in trouble as well? It's because we're sitting here talking about the penalties of last week. This should have been this guy, or this guy should have been offside. That's what losing teams do. We nitpick at the what could have been. Well, they didn't call the flag. Who cares? It's a sloppy game between 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL. You think the refs even want to be there? They don't care. They're not going to make every call. That's why you have refs. If you had a robot calling every play, we'd never move. Everything would be called holding. So it's a judgmental call. They could pick up flags. They've done it before. No, there's no flag on the play, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case may be. However, in the last sequence of the games, the Giants have been screwed by the refs, but I'm not blaming them because this team is terrible. And when you're terrible, you go back and say, well, if this guy doesn't go offsides, or if that doesn't go offsides, or if the kicker, the Giants are getting mad because Will McDonald, who jumped over the center, is like, he's out of position. I'm like, I don't give a shit. They didn't call it. And he almost made an exceptional play. You know what I mean? And it still missed. He altered the kick. But my beef is with Brian Daboll. Why are you not bringing in a kicker last week? If you know your guy's injured. Now, a week later, you put him on IR and sign Randy Bullock? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with this franchise? I don't understand it. I don't get it. If you want to talk about some things that are going on with Daboll right now, some of these coaching moves of the roster have been head-scratching. And this is why I'm a little nervous about Brian Daboll, because it's like, I don't think he's going to lose the locker room per se. They're playing hard, and we'll get into the Leonard Williams thing in a minute. How I think that's going to affect the defense. They're playing hard, but what I don't get is the mind-boggling decisions before the game, during the game, and sometimes after the game, where you don't bring in a kicker when you know he's injured. Apparently, you got the information about your quarterback having a doctor's appointment after the game. I'm supposed to believe that shit? I'm supposed to believe you, the head coach, know that your quarterback is getting a thing which he comes in at 10:45? Don't tell me that's not staged. Don't tell me that's not planned. Everything is calculated. They probably knew that if we got wind of this and something were to happen, we're going to do this. Like this, the unpreparedness that this team is facing right now on certain aspects and the buttoned up details that normally you would think a coach would have, he's falling by the wayside. Now I'm trying to do what you said, give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And like NFL Reality Check says, bro, we find a Super Bowl winning coach and we are fine. There is no drastic moves. It's about winning. I like Daboll. I just feel like he isn't suited for New York and there's nothing wrong with saying that. I agree with you. Again, I'm on more of the Mac side where it's like, let him get his guy in here. Let him get it. The thing is this, if he's here next year, which I believe he will be, he's going to draft his quarterback regardless of what round it is. Because if he's going down with the ship and Daniel Jones is injured or banged up or they're having a bad season, you don't want to be on the legacy on the hook for somebody else's guy. You want to be able to bring in your guy. And that buys you maybe an extra year of mediocrity, right? Because if they don't do anything at the end of the year with the quarterback, Daniel Jones, I'm talking about him. He is not good. He is not good. He's not great. He's not the answer here. If they don't do anything and try to run it back, then they will be fired at the end of 2024 when they don't make the playoffs again. And we're still sitting here spinning our wheels. They need to do their due diligence. And he needs to improve. Like right now, you IR'd your kicker, and now you're saying you're possibly going to IR your tight end. Either just do it. Just make the move. Why do you have guys on the roster? Why is Lawrence Cager on the roster and Ryan Thomas or whatever the other guy's name is on the roster if you're not going to use them?
Makes no sense to me. Especially when a team is this bad, you got to find a spark anywhere you can get it. Never know who can give you one.
Like, why are we really, like, why do we care about, like, I hate that Waller's injured, but I'm kind of glad because now I get to see somebody else. I know what Waller can do. He has been an okay player for the Giants. He's their leading receiver. He's got his numbers, but again, he's injured like he has been the last few years, which is what injured players do. They remain injured. I want to see young guys. I know they got this delusion, and there's not much more to talk about this Jet game, which is ugly, but there's this delusion that they think that they're going to the playoffs, that the Giants, at least in the building or in some of the fan base, because Daniel Jones is now cleared, he's coming back. Like, the percentage, this team is horrible on offense, horrible, and on defense, they're good to a point. They can't do everything. They're not that good of a defense. They're good enough. They're middle of the road defense in the middle of the pack, and right now they're tops in the league in scoring and things like that. However, when you're not scoring on defense, you're not
playoffs.
I'm trying to win a game, but that's what I'm saying. And the Giants seem to meet their own drama with another drama in the Raiders. And, I looked at that Monday night game that they played, the Raiders, and I thought, the Raiders aren't really as bad as they look. They kind of just don't put things together. They're a losing team, right? I get that. But they don't put things together all the time, right? And I said, because if ifs and buts or candies and nuts, things with Christmas. But if Devontae Adams doesn't miss a few of these plays and Jimmy Garoppolo hits him, maybe the game's different. I'm not trying to be revisionist history because I just said we can't do that. But there were opportunities we had in this game. And while we laugh at Aiden O'Connell, who might be starting for this Raider team, and the fact that
he's starting. He's starting.
The fact that he's starting, yes. The fact that he's starting. They benched Jimmy G, right? Because they want to see Aiden. Everyone's laughing and saying, hey, we're going to steamroll this team. How can I believe we can steamroll a team who, by the way, has...
You got to score points to steamroll somebody, bro.
Who Antonio Pierce is their head coach, who you know without a shadow of a doubt, he is going to have this team ready. They may not have a game plan whatsoever. They may go in not knowing what the fuck to do, but they are going to play as if it is their life's depends on it. Because one, Antonio Pierce is a motivator of men. Two, he's playing as they're playing his old team. And 3, they want to get the guy the freaking win. And I bet you that the Josh McDaniels not being in the building brings a cloud of an aura of relaxation, like, hey, we can go out and have fun. Meanwhile, on our side of the field, we're worried about flags from last week, what player was lying. Like our special teams coach goes, oh, that guy should have been offside. Who the fuck cares if he's offsides? What you should be saying is we need to play better, we need to block better, we need to kick better. That's what we need to do. We're not doing any of that good. You have the audacity to call out the damn refs about a player on the other team because he's lined up wrong. Hey, hello, it doesn't matter about that. Stop focusing on that. That shit was last week. Calls are going to be missed. That's what happens. This is the NFL. They do it every week. Look up and down the games. Every fucking week, there's a call that's missed. A big call. And sometimes game-altering calls. But the problem is when you're a losing team like we are, we want to calculate everything. We want to overanalyze everything when it comes to our losses. Oh, well, we would have won if this didn't happen or if that didn't happen. No, a loss is a loss. At the end of the day, you gave the game back to the Jets. At the end of the day, they made the 3 plays necessary. In this case, 4 plays necessary because of the kick that went through, which was a horrible kick anyways, right? They made the plays necessary to win the game. And now they're sitting at 4-3. They can say whatever they want about being the Kings of New York. I don't give a shit. They earned it, right? They want to say all that and talk all that shit. They fucking earned it. And we're sitting here as Giant fans saying, fuck this and F that, and we could have done that. No. Go out and prove it against the Raiders. This game is ripe for the picking the Raiders. They have everything going against them. This is exactly the reason why it scares me, because they have nothing to lose. They're playing with nothing to lose. They got what they wanted. Their coach gone. Now they can live it up. You don't think Max Crosby is looking at his chops, looking at Evan Neal? He's hoping Evan Neal doesn't come out there. He's hoping because he's going to embarrass Evan Neal out there. But Tyree Phillips, they move this guy all over the field. The Raiders front 7 is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Oh, and by the way, Marcus Peters had an interception last week, and our quarterback Daniel Jones has done nothing in the 5 games previously who played. So everyone I hear now is like, oh, Daniel, Saquon, all this. Guess what? They're going to have to play like they played last year, literally, because they have no Darren Waller. They have no receivers that anybody fucking believes in. All right? Our receivers have 1 fucking touchdown. 1 fucking touchdown. Okay? Maybe 2. I could be wrong. Could be 2. They got Isaiah Hodgins has 1 and another fucking receiver. 2 touchdowns the entire year. You know, I saw a stat someone sent me that said last week, the NFC East, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys all scored 4 touchdowns. The Giants, by their quarterbacks, all threw 4 touchdowns. We have 4 touchdowns the whole season passing.
Yeah,
and my team threw 4 in 1 week.
Oh, man. I feel your pain, bro. You just got a lot off your chest right there. You got a lot off of your chest right there, my brother. But I don't even know how to follow that. Because I wanted to wrap this game up, and I just want to say props. I do want to look. It's been a lot of horrible football for the New York Giants this season. These last 3 games, there's been some really good defense. I have at least enjoyed watching that side of the football. Kayvon Thibodeau came out and did have an excellent performance, his best performance of his career. So I want to at least end it on somewhat of a positive note. This team is really, really bad, and I think you guys got to stop kidding yourself if you think this team is going to make some kind of run and go to the postseason. Let's not pretend. Let's not even pretend that's going to happen.
To only get our asses kicked when we get there.
Oh my God, Philly billionaire drops in the nugget. Yes, indeed. Yep. Isaiah Hodgins, Darren Waller. The only 2. That's it. As far as receivers catching touchdowns this season for the New York Giants. 1 apiece. There we go.
Well, I thought Daniel Jones has 2 touchdowns. Who's the other one? Who do you have the other one to?
Let's get ready to finish these Giants up, man.
Yeah, let's go. Let's move on. They're not worth talking about anymore. I hate them right now.
Well, who you got? Who you got this week, man? Giants or the Raiders, man? Listen,
I'm picking the Raiders. I haven't picked the Giants in like 3 weeks to win any games, and I think it continues. I think here's the reason. Here are a few reasons why. If they had Josh McDaniels, I probably still would have said they would have won the game. But now you have Antonio Pierce. You have they're at home. They just got rid of the biggest albatross in the room, and they're starting a young guy. And here's why I look at it like this. everyone's already picking the Giants and laughing at the laughing at the Giants, saying low hanging fruit. They're going to go on the run after they beat the Raiders. Look, man, I've seen teams like the Raiders before. And they're not a bad team. They've been in some of their games. They got blown out here and there. Things happen. I get it. They're close. But when you come into a game like this against the Giants, where they know they have a chance, it's not like they're playing the Detroit Lions over there, where they know it's going to be, believe it or not, they know that the Detroit Lions are a good football team, right? They know that they can't keep up with those two guys, that team. They know they can keep up with the Giants. That defense is looking over at us going, like we're looking at the Giant defense looking over at the Raiders going, yeah, we can beat this quarterback. What do you think the Raiders defense is doing? What do you think Patrick Graham's doing? You don't think Patrick Graham has some nuggets on Daniel Jones on how to stop him? He was with the guy for 2 seasons. He knows everything about that kid. He's going to be like, listen, man, this is what they do. And if we get any ounce of pressure, how can I trust Daniel Jones and his neck to hold up? Listen, man, I want to pick the Giants, and I do, but the things that have happened with the Raiders right now and how they're go listen to Antonio Pierce. Go listen to Max Crosby. These boys are fired up. We're sitting here talking about fucking flags. They're sitting over here with more turmoil, more fucking drama, and they're ready to go out and play a football game. We're talking about flags from last week.
Well. I actually am going to take the Giants once again this week, but I'm going to tell you why I'm taking them. It's because I am a believer in what I've seen the last few weeks on this defense. I'm a believer in that. And the defense playing the way it's playing, a young quarterback. I mean, we don't really know what to expect from O'Connell, but he's a young quarterback out there. Then getting his, I believe this will be his second, so I think he did start a few weeks back too, one game. But I just believe in what this New York Giants defense has been doing, and I believe that they'll be able to hold it down against another, pretty not so good team. You know what I mean? So I think that gives them a chance. I'm not really banking on expecting any much from Daniel Jones. I have no idea what I can really expect from this guy at this point anymore. And I do got one more note. Andrew Thomas, as of today, Thursday, still is only limited in practice, which is not a good thing for the game coming up on Sunday. I mean, it'll probably be a game time decision or something, but so this offensive line is going to be what it's going to be. And like you said, Daniel Jones neck, that's a big deal, man. Can he take the hits? Is he truly ready for the contact? All this is going to be a mystery, but I believe the New York Giants defense is what's going to win us this football game, even if they got to score the damn points themselves. That's the way I feel like this defense is going to get after it. I mean, I wish Antonio Pierce the best of luck because he's one of my favorite all-time Giants. But at the end of the day,
they've only won one game at home. We've only won one game on the road. So
something's gonna have to give. Something's gonna have to give there. It's a great stat. But yeah, I just believe this defense. I think Kayvon Thibodeau's good strong play continues.
They have a good offensive line, man. They really do.
They do. But I believe Kayvon Thibodeau's good play continues, man. 8.5 sacks now in the season now, and he got off to a slow start. He's up 8.5 now, man. I can't just ignore that. Dexter Lawrence is getting it going. NFC Defensive Player of the week. By the way, for Dexter Lawrence.
So, what about Leonard Williams? What do you think about the impact that his loss have an impact on the defense?
It definitely could. Leonard Williams is definitely a solid piece in the middle of that defense, man, and he will be missed, especially on a team that's as bad as this and needs all the guys they can to make some plays out there. But I guess at the end of the day, you're just going to have to start rotating some guys in there next to Dexter, man, in the middle, and hopefully, Dexter can still just be as disruptive as he has been. I mean, at the end of the day, we got a good haul for Leonard Williams, and I think that was a move that had to be made. Leonard Williams getting a second and a fifth for Leonard Williams. I mean, the Commanders didn't even get that much for Chase Young or Montez Sweat. So, I mean, that trigger had to get pulled, man. I was actually wishing the Giants would have made some more moves. Could have maybe, I don't know if they were shopping Adoree Jackson out, but I would not have been upset with seeing him go out the door either, man. this team needs to start reloading, and it's gonna have to build through the draft. And this, I really wanted to see Johnson do some more things before the trade deadline, but it is what it is. We'll just see what they got with Joe Shane, and this has been planned for this team heading into the rest of the season, the rest of the season, heading into the off season, which I believe it will be a long off season. I think it's gonna be much January football for the New York Giants, but I do got them winning this football game just because I think the defense is going to get it done against a young quarterback as long as they can continue that level of play that they've been showing the last few weeks. So that's why I'm picking the Giants for this one. But that's all we got for the New York Giants this week, guys. It really is, man. And we are going to move on to the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Where are you? Oh, here we go. The Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday, man. This was once again another great game between these two football teams, man. Something about the Washington Commanders. They match up well to the Eagles, and they push them absolutely to the limit for the second time this season. Once again, pushed them to the limit on the brink, man. Sam Howell had a huge day with 4 big touchdown passes, I believe, on the day. So, Adam, what's your thoughts on this one, man?
I think this was another one of those games that, the Eagles styles make fights. And I think Commanders' style really gives the Eagles fits. I mean, in both games, they've scored over 30 points. The Commanders, that's the highest output they've had all season. It's like they're competent against the Eagles when it matters. But, at the end of the day, the Eagles are who they are. They win games. They score 38 points as well. They can do it on both ends. They can score points with the best of them in bunches. Jalen Hurts is playing good, probably better football than he is last year. It's just not reflecting probably in the numbers. He is playing with an injury in his knee, and he's throwing the ball a little bit less rushing yards. So I think he's doing well. I think their running game is – I think DeAndre Swift, I was telling I had a conversation with AK, and I was saying DeAndre Swift to me is an untapped potential back. I know that he is their leading rusher, but I feel like they need to feature him more. He can do so much on the field. That guy changes the complexion of the football game in a hot second. He's a blur. Their defense is coming into their own, even though they gave up 31 points. It's like I said, the Eagles, 31 points this week against the Commanders, 17 points last week against the team they played previously. And right now, if you are Philadelphia, you don't have to be really concerned, but they're a good team. They are the best team in football record-wise. They are probably the best team in football right now, and I cannot wait for their matchup this week. But again, the Commanders. This has been 4 games that we've seen the Commanders give them fits. It was last year they gave them fits. I think they didn't give them too much fits in 2022. I think 1 out of the 2 games. Didn't the Commanders win in one of those games, right? And then this year, I bet you if they have Tyler Heineke, the Commanders, I bet you they win. I bet you they win because those sacks sometimes when you're piling up and you get sacked and all this stuff and you're punting, that little tick of a second can be the difference in moving the football, right? So the Commanders, they're a dumpster fire right now. They're gearing up to get players. They're going to probably be in the market for a quarterback, even though Sam Howell is having a decent season. For a first year, it's not great, but it's also not the worst season I've seen. I think they're going to try to get one in this draft and then have Sam Howell and the quarterback compete. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens, man. I don't know what to expect from this Commanders defense. But this game is one of those games where this happens. I was expecting this type of game. The only difference was I thought the Commanders would pull it out this year as opposed to last week.
What up, Big Simple in the chat, man? Thanks for stopping in, man. The boys gave it a good run on Sunday, man, but came up a little bit short again, man. But they definitely gave the Eagles everything they can. Yeah, this game, it's just another, like I said, a great matchup. Like I said earlier, just once again, this Commander team, it's like I said, Jekyll and Hyde. This is a Jekyll and Hyde team. Can you believe this is the same Commander team that played the New York Giants a week prior? It just looks like a completely different football team out there against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just unbelievable. The game, like I said, performance Sam Howell had. I mean, what's going on, NYG, Unpopular Opinion Sports, man. Appreciate you stopping in, bro. Appreciate it. Most definitely. But this team is just it's so up and down all season. It's been so up and down all season long, man. It's been every week it's different, like a roller coaster ride. Sam Howell played great one week, and play like shit the next week. It's been too much inconsistencies with this football team, which probably led to a lot of the moves they made during the trade deadline, trading away their two best pass rushers, both on the same day for more draft capital, looking to definitely reload and rebuild there down in DC. So Philadelphia Eagles, man. I mean, this just goes like to prove once again, like you said, right now currently, like they're my number one in the power rankings. I got them number one in the power rankings as well. To me, they're the best team in football. It doesn't matter how you win. There's no such thing as style points, man. There's no such thing as style points. A win is the win is the win, and that's what the goal is to win. And they
Right.
keep finding a way to do so every damn week. And that's just is what it is. Any way you want to feel about it, that's what it is. You want to have a problem with it? Do something about it. And nobody's doing nothing about it. That's what makes this upcoming matchup that we're gonna talk about a little bit later on, so
Wow.
epic this week.
Sam Howell threw for 400, damn near 400 yards and had 75% completion and one interception. His rating was through the roof. So
Great
I know
game.
that, huh?
Yeah, I said he had a great game. Yeah.
So I mean, like, that's what I mean. Like, if let's say Sam Howell is your guy, right? And I'm not saying he is. They're gearing up here, but if Sam Howell, who threw 400 yards, almost 400 on this Eagle defense, right? We're talking about a good Eagle defense here, right? You gotta think that this might be a guy you want to evaluate the next 10 games. I know a lot of people may not like him or think he's not the guy, but 397 yards, 75% completion, and a rating of 114. You can only hope to get that. Like that, that's like Mahomes level, Josh Allen type level of quarterbacking. So, I didn't get to see as much of the game as I'd like, but it looks like Sam Howell, if he can, I guarantee you, if you got that guy a better O line, the results are probably different, right? Because right now he's still learning. Like, that's what people forget is he's in his 8th game of his career, maybe 9th. I know he was here a season prior, but the quarterback he was learning from was Tyler Heineke. Let's be honest, that guy is not, a dude that you're like, hey man, let me get your knowledge from you. Let me pick your brain a little bit. You've done a great job in the NFL. No, he's kind of just, you're there, you're learning. He's teaching you the ropes. What you're starting to see is Sam Howell become a passer in an offense where they're going to, no matter what happens, if they decide to draft a quarterback or not, right, you're going to have a guy that's an asset who can either come in and be a spot starter or hell, trade down the road. Like, you know what, Sam, we like you here, but we drafted, whomever, right? And we want to make them the starter. Here, go get a second round pick, go with a franchise that works. He's showing you can do that. Now, if at the end of the year they said, you know what, Sam Howell put up damn near 4,000 yards and 27 touchdowns and blah, 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 maybe that eliminates them from the competition of the quarterback because they'll say, hey, listen, we got Percent here, we got Sam Howell here. We like the guys we want moving forward. Let's go get Joe Alt from Notre Dame. Let's go get our other defensive end. Let's really change the culture because that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Sam Howell at the end of the next year, but they bring somebody else in, like a second or third round pick, just because it's going to be plentiful, and they let him play. I mean, the Eagles defense, let's when the time comes and Daniel Jones, if he stays healthy, gets to the Eagle game against Christmas, let's compare his Eagle game to the 2 Eagle games that he plays compared to Sam Howell's 2 Eagle games. And that's how you can evaluate to see who had a better game. Okay. If Sam Howell, who's come out, and I think he threw for 300 yards against the Eagles. Wait, what am I doing? Let me look at it right now. He played the Falcons, the Eagles, right? Let me see the stats right quick. I just need to look at it. Wow, he's already has 2,000 yards this season. That's pretty good. So against the Eagles, he threw for 290. And then against the Eagles again, he threw for 397. So he has 5 touchdowns in 2 games against the Eagles. I can only hope Daniel Jones has 5 touchdowns in 2 games against the Eagles. That's all I'm saying. Just think about it.
I mean, we'll see. That doesn't seem likely based off of what we all know, but we'll see about what I have to see about that. But I think just touch on what you were just talking about with Sam Howell. Man, I think Sam Howell is starting to really. I mean, I'm slowly becoming a fan on the low. I mean, the kid,
Uh-oh.
he's taking his lumps a little bit, man. He's taking the sacks, but even against the Eagles, I believe they only got to him 2 times. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in this football game. So that's once again against a defense like that, the way he's been taking sacks all season. That's also a pretty good. I mean, something to look at to see maybe he's starting to finally see things are slowing down a little bit for him. So, I mean, it was a tremendous effort against, like I like what we just basically agreed. No, I think both said we think is the best team in football.
What
Tremendous effort from
my
Sam
last
Howell, and I think that another year in this system, for instance, he can only get better, right? I mean, he can't. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to regress, right? I don't see. I think this kid's going to get more confident and get better as the season, as the rest of this season continues.
so
So
we're 8 games in, right? If we were to double his numbers up, let's just say, the next eight, right? And we gave him the same output of numbers that he has right now, because right now he has 2,146 yards, 13 touchdowns, right, and 8 interceptions. He'd have 26 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, and he'd have over 4,200 yards passing. If you got that out of Sam Howell's first season, I think you'd sign up for that in a heartbeat to say, hey, let's give this guy another shot. Let me read these numbers to you. Eagles game, 397. Giants, I know he played a bad game, 249. Falcons, he played horrible, but yet he had 3 touchdowns, so that worked out. He only threw 151 yards there. Against the Bears, 388. Against the Eagles, 290. Against the Bills, 170, and that's where he had the 4 interceptions. And then the Broncos, 299, and then the Cardinals, 202, right? So he's thrown for at least 200 yards most of his games. He's thrown for 1, 2, 3, 4 times over 250 yards, and 2 times over 350 yards. Okay, against the Bears, which was a comeback loss, but then again, and then against the Eagles, a vaunted team. So this is what I'm talking about. He comes out against a good defense, the best defense, or one of the best teams we think in football, if not the best team in football, and comes out and performs. This is what we talk about when we talk about a quarterback, right? How are you going to do me when we play the Eagles? How are you going to do me when how are you going to come out there and play against the 49ers? Against the Eagles, he's thrown for well over 600 yards. Well over 600 yards for him against the Eagles twice. And how many touchdowns he has? 5. 5 touchdowns against the Eagles this season. That's all I have to say. Think about that. Think about all those Sam people, those Sam Howell haters, right? And I'm not trying to make this a hate versus hate thing. All I'm saying is people don't like Sam Howell, but he's done more in one season than Daniel Jones has against the damn Eagles. He's thrown 5 touchdowns in 2 games against the Eagles. 5.
I mean, you can't argue with that, man. You definitely can't argue with that. But let's move on and see what Commanders got on this. Where they're going up to New England, Foxborough, taking on Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Man, how you see this one playing out?
Well, I think I think Washington. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna slightly root for Sam Howell as well. I hope the Commanders can pull this one out, just because I'd like to see them get back on their winning ways. Yes, your defense is a letdown, but I think we'll get to them in a minute. I think playing the Commanders, let's see how he does against this team. Bill Belichick is known to confuse the thing. The Patriots' backs are against the wall. I don't think they're going to win many more games, but their defense has been pretty solid. This is a game where the Patriots can get right. And if Sam Howell has a good game, I could see them winning. Now, again, let's get to that defense. They have let go of their 2 top pass rushers. I don't know how that will affect them. I don't know what the new scheme will be. They were playing good football, these 2 guys. They were playing really good football. So I'm wondering what's going to happen defensively, because are you going to blitz more? Because if you don't have the pass rushers up front, you got to bring a little bit of a blitz. You're going to play a little bit more man. If they can kind of win this game and get to 4 wins, they play the Giants in a couple weeks. You never know. Maybe they have 4 or 5, 6 wins here and there. Sam Howell playing good. I just think if you're a Washington fan, you want to see the continued progression of Sam Howell. You don't really care if they win or lose, because if Sam Howell's your guy and he has a good number, it doesn't matter for us. We're just going to get the best O lineman, the best D lineman. You're gonna have dealer's choice for the Commanders. They look like they're heading in the right direction. I don't know if they're going to make Eric Bieniemy the coach, but I think they might. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but if you brought him in as the assistant head coach and you really believe in Sam Howell, then you need to keep Eric Bieniemy on as either the head coach or the offensive coordinator or whoever comes in. Say, listen, I don't want to make him the head coach because I have experience, but I'd like to bring you in as whatever, or you just make him the head coach and let's see what happens. Because, this is like I said about the Giants, it's time to see your young guys. And this is like I said, a game where you can build Terry McLaurin's conference. I think the Washington Redskins are going to, Commanders are going to win. I don't think the Patriots have enough in them to win.
What's up, Wells, man? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to my guy, Wells, man. Got to meet up with him on this past weekend, man. Had a good time hanging out with my guy, Wells, man.
Wales, I have a great picture with Wales. He's a great dude, great guy. Thanks for meeting us. Thanks for being out there in the muck with us. Thanks for those phenomenal pictures that your wife took, or your spouse, your significant other. I'm not sure if you're married or not. I just want to make sure to say thank you to her as well for slogging out in the rain and taking those fantastic photos that we have. So.
No doubt, dude. Shout out to my guy, no mess.
I love Unpopular, man. It was great meeting Unpopular as well. I love how he, he's anti NFC East. Anything NFC East, he's going to be like, they're going to have a game plan and they're going to beat this team and beat that team and never give credit because he does not like it, Sam Howell. But we'll see, man. This is a big game. If Sam Howell can put them back to back and they win or that they play well, but let's be honest, the Commanders' defense is not going up against the world's best offense. They can disrupt Mac Jones. What are we talking about here? Now, defensively, he's got a point. They have played hard, but we'll see. Scary Terry and Sam. If he goes out and wins this game against Bill Belichick and has another good game, we might have to start looking at Sam Howell in a different light. I'm kind of starting to, but I don't want to get too excited.
I am thinking. The defense was already overall, for the most part, kind of struggling a bit as it was, and then trading your two absolute best pass rushers, I think that can have an impact on this football team. And like I expressed earlier, man, the Commanders have been such a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team all season, man. Roller coaster, man, ups and downs. And I just can see this team having yet again another down week. And just going take another L up there in Foxborough to this New England Patriot team. It's just been a weird season for the Commanders, man. They got some decent pieces, some really good pieces. Like we said, we just gave all that praise to Sam Howell. I think he's a good young up and coming quarterback in this league. But something about this team this season, man, I don't know. I just can see them going up there and losing on Sunday to the New England Patriots, man. I haven't seen them put a consistent run together this year at any point in time this season. They'll have have a big game like they did, even though it was a losing effort. It's still a good, hard-fought battle against the Eagles on Sunday, and then they'll come out and just lay an absolute egg the following week, man. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like I just think this Patriot team is going to pull this one out, man. Bill Belichick will have something up his sleeve, man. I know Mac Jones has been less than spectacular this season, and definitely can make those big mistakes. But he's played a little bit better than the last couple of games out. And
So you're going with the Patriots?
I'm going with the Patriots, man.
All right, listen, valid points. I can't, rebuttal you too much. I'm just saying, I'm just picking the Commanders because I just think the Patriots are a little bit of disarray, and I think they're a team that can be had. And I'm not saying that they can't, but at the worst, what I'd like to see is at the worst, I'd like to see Sam Howell have another good game. Whatever the outcome is the outcome. But if I'm a Commander fan at this point, I just want to see him play well down the stretch. And if we have a bad season, we can work on the other things. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I just think that New England's having some trouble, but we'll see. We'll see if they get another win.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. You got any final comments on the Washington Commanders, or we can
Nope. I'm just looking forward to see Sam Howell going forward.
got my eye on that kid. Like I said, got my eye on him for sure. No doubt indeed, man. Sam Howell's doing some decent things this year two of his young career. But the Dallas Cowboys coming off the bye week, man, and they came off that bye week absolutely ready. Uh, Hosted the Los Angeles Rams and absolutely just took it to this football team, man. It was this the game wasn't even as close as the scores even indicating. I believe this game was even a bigger blowout than what the scores indicating. This Dallas Cowboy team, I probably shut the Rams down about as much as I've seen anybody shut this offense down all season. What's your thoughts on this game, Adam?
I think the win and the bye couldn't have come at a better time. Winning the game last week going into this game, I think helped boost their confidence. And then having 2 weeks to prepare for this Los Angeles Rams team, the Cowboys came out looking to make a statement. They could have easily been a trap game for them and struggled with the Rams or lost to them because they're playing the Eagles next week, right? So the fact they come out here and put double digits on them, hang double digits on this team, is pretty good. And regardless of what happens in the next game. This is a game that, like, again, the Cowboys know that they're still in the mix. The San Francisco 49ers lost. The Eagles are right in their sights. So a game like this against the Rams where, you have a big game on the horizon and you came out and made a statement. It wasn't like you just dribbled. You made a statement. You played well in all facets of the game. And I just think, I think Dak Prescott is starting to find his groove a little bit. I think the Cowboys are finding a little bit of a groove here, and we'll see how it translates.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dallas Cowboy defense came out just on fire against this Rams offense, man. This game got away early. Cowboys just went up quick and just absolutely
Look at these
annihilated
numbers.
this team, man.
Look at these numbers for Dak. 304 yards passing, 4 TDs. Again, 4 TDs from another NFC East quarterback. All right, NFC East team. 4, okay? 80% completion percentage and 133.7 rating. Dak Prescott absolutely balled out this game. And I think a game against the Chargers, it started to click for him a little bit. They started to change things up and make him go downfield, let him use his legs a little bit more. Of course, yes, it's the Rams, it's not the 49ers. He'll really have a big test this week against the Eagles. But if he comes out and has a solid game and the Eagles beat them just because they're just better team, we can't take that away. I just want to point that out. I'm not trying to, say Dak Prescott's all world, but you got to give praise where praise is due. Having that game, not being the turnover machine that he was last year, and having 4 touchdowns and bouncing back after the bye. I mean, he has 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He had 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last year. He's on pace right now to have 20 touchdowns and 10 picks, if you were to double the numbers, and probably 3,200 yards, right? So he hasn't even hit his numbers totals in yardage yet. And I think you're starting to see him heat up a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys start to light it up going forward. I still think, they're going to have trouble this week, but big game, good statement. Can't wait for their game on Sunday. Should be a good one.
What's up, Chad, in the comments, man? I appreciate you stopping in, bro. Said, what up, Mac and Adam? If my Steelers fire Matt Canada tonight, if we lose to the Titans, if they go after Josh McDaniels, I might as well get a paper bag on my head. I don't think anybody's going after Josh McDaniels, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say nobody's going after that guy.
Well, he's going to go back to Bill Belichick as an advisor, maybe run that team over there because they'll have more familiarity with it. I doubt he ever coaches a head coaching job again, though.
No, I can't imagine he gets any more opportunities to be a head coach. He's now officially what they call a proven failure as a head coach. So,
there's too much drama coming out of that locker room with players. That's why I think this Raider game for the Giants, like I said, is tricky because now guys, if they're going to be more loose and more dialed in because the taskmaster is gone, that might change it. That might change your attitude a little bit. So
we will see, man. We will see, but
don't worry, Chad. That's not going to happen.
honestly, there's not really much to talk about with this football game here. Like I said, the Cowboys absolutely annihilated them, and
Get to the marquee matchup.
there is a big one,
Ooh.
big NFC showdown this Sunday. And as a fan, you gotta love it. As a Giants fan, you probably kind of like, man, who cares? We suck. They're better than us, and we don't really care about either one of these football teams. But this is a big one as a football fan. This is a game of the week easily. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. This is what it's all about right now, man. This Philadelphia Eagle team will be hosting this Dallas Cowboy team, and this right now, I think if the Cowboys pull this one off, they'll be tied up with the Eagles, and technically they'll have that edge because they won the outright matchup. So this is a huge game for the Dallas Cowboys this week. Huge, huge, huge game. And you got to come out there and they got to show what they are absolutely made of. They say that they can compete with the Eagles. They're ready to overtake the Eagles in this division. And this is the week they got to come out and prove it right now. They got to prove it in this game. I mean, is it over? Is it over if the Cowboys can't get it on Sunday? Of course not. It's not over. But at the end of the day, they got to go out there and make a statement against this football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is their opportunity to do it. The Eagles are getting a little bit banged up. I mean, I don't know if people have been noticing Jalen Hurts is looking like a little, like something's going on a little bit there. I'm not sure about the stats of Jalen Carter. He's been missing a lot of practice time from what I've been seeing. So, I mean, the Eagles are right there. They're ripe for the picking, man. Cowboys, you gotta go out there and show up and show out and see if you really want it, man. At this point, and this is the opportunity. If you want to have an opportunity to say you're as good as the Eagles, you're ready to overtake them for this division and be at the top of the mountain in the NFC East, you got to go out there and show us something on Sunday, man.
Listen, I had to stand up for this one because that's what you do for this game. You have to stand up because everybody in the NFL is watching. I even checked the time when this game was playing because I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to watch this game. I hope it's like 8:00. Nope, it's 4:25 at the exact same time the Giants were playing the Raiders. So while I had to watch the putrid Giants offense go up against the putrid Raiders offense, I could be watching a good game in the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's going to be a battle for, I believe, the top spot in the NFC. Because remember, the Eagles, the Cowboys lost to the 49ers. They play the Eagles now. They beat the Eagles this week. It's not over they lose. Not over they lose. It's how they lose. If they lose the Eagles this week, but they lose like on a last-second field goal because of Jake Elliott, or they look good and the Eagles just overcome because they're the Eagles and they have A.J. Brown, right? It's how they lose. If they get the doors blown off them, I think it'll be not necessarily a morale downer because they have the Giants coming up next, so they can really bounce right back. But I think it'll go a long way in telling who they are. If they win this game, I think outright they're going to be the representative in the NFC this year because I think they're waiting to get the 49ers at home. And this is how you do that. If you want the 49ers at home, you've got to go out and win this game, right? The 49ers have struggled. The Eagles are coming a bit banged up. Jalen Hurts, even though they won last week, Jalen Hurts is coming. He is playing through a knee injury. Maybe you should try to see how banged up that knee is. But sending the house, right? And maybe seeing what he can do. Now, I think the Eagles, I think the Eagles are going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be buttoned up. I'm picking them to win this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see Dan Quinn try to move the spot on Jalen Hurts. Let's see if he really is, how injured he is, right? If he is injured and there's no qualms about it, he has some type of knee injury. I hate to say this. If I'm in the defensive meeting room, the first thing I'm doing is go get that guy, hit him. I'm not saying to hurt him or maim him, but if he's got a bum knee, let's make him move off a spot. Let's make him move. Let's make him uncomfortable. Let's make that knee affect the way he throws the football. And then when you do that, go out and cover. I think they've been playing well in the back end of their team in the secondary after losing Trayvon Diggs. They have a guy, I forget his name, I think his name is Bland. He has 3 defensive touchdowns this season. 3 defensive touchdowns. So and the Eagles have been known to turn the ball over. The Cowboys have to play clean football. If they cannot have penalties, they cannot have fumbles, they cannot have turnovers, they cannot do what they do against big teams when the moment gets too hard. The Cowboys have to play a game where you can believe that maybe down the road in December they can win. That's what needs to happen. I'm picking the Eagles, but if you are a Cowboy fan, the worst case scenario, you lose the game, at least look competent. At least look like, hey, listen, we are going to be contending, and we will maybe see this team a third time down the road, or the next time we see them in our building, it's going to be for the division and or record. Starts now. If the Cowboys want to be hoisting the Lombardi or getting close to it, this is the game they need to do it. I believe one of these two teams is coming out of the East. I picked the Cowboys, Miami for the Super Bowl. Still could happen, but if they want to be us to believe that they're Super Bowl bound or a Super Bowl team, go out and beat the Eagles.
Absolutely agree with that statement. NYG agrees with you, Adam. Looks like Eagles have been slipping a little bit, but they should take care of Dallas in this game. Cowboys strength against quality competition. Interesting point. I can tend to agree with that a little bit. Feel like the better teams, Cowboys, don't perform as well against the better football teams in this league. The more complete football teams, and the Eagles are definitely a complete football team. All phases of the game they play, they are good in all phases of the game. Offense, defense, and their special teams ain't shabby either. So
I know you can't look at things week to week. It's irrelevant in this league because of how life is, right? You can't just say, well, because the Commanders put up 31 points, the Cowboys can put up 31 points. Yes, there is a path to probably doing that. And if you're a Cowboy fan, you've got to think, we've scored a couple. We've been able to put up 30 points in this game. Let's at least try to get 24 at the very least, right? And let's see where our defense carries you. Because, like I said, the Eagles have turned the ball over sometimes, and a lot of their losses against the Jets. Remember, the Jets probably played the best blueprint of the Eagle game. That was the game where they disrupted Jalen Hurts. They threw turnovers. Everything was happening left and right with that Eagle team, right? If I'm the Cowboys, you have similar personnel to that team, similar personnel. And what I mean by similar personnel is that you have you have the linemen to run around on the team, right? You have the linebackers that can run around and play sideline to sideline. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Eagles need a heavy dose of DeAndre Swift. If you want me to believe they're going to win, that guy needs held to rock.
I mean, that's going to be a key to this game is the Eagles controlling that clock. Like you said, grinding it out with DeAndre Swift. I mean, you got to use him like the workhorse back, man, that he can be. You absolutely have to. You just can't be scared of the injuries happening or anything like that. You got to use this guy. He's your best guy, and that's who you got to throw at the Cowboys. And I think you got to give him a heavy dose of DeAndre. So I definitely agree with that statement. And then AJ Brown. I mean, this guy's a menace right now, man. I mean, realistically, AJ Brown should absolutely be in serious consideration for the MVP of the league right now after these first 8 weeks of the season. Things he's doing, numbers like that consistently week in and week out. I mean, that's unheard of stuff right there, man, with the things that this dude is doing. So the Cowboys definitely going to have their hands full with the Eagle receiving core. Dallas Goedert has really awoken the last few weeks. Also, I think on the low, nobody's talking enough about that either.
I think that's a key as well. I think you're right. I think that's what's missing out of the Cowboys' offense is a tight end. Like, to me, that's what the only thing they're like, well, why are the Cowboys having so much trouble? It's because they don't have Dalton Schultz roaming the middle, right? When you have Ferguson and whatnot, roaming the middle, no one believes you. But I think this game against the Eagles, you're right. Dallas Goedert could be an X factor, but on the other end, they need a tight end as well. So, to me, if the Cowboys don't win right in this game and they don't hit the seams the way they are, I think next year, look for them to get a tight end. Look for them to get the top tight end in the draft or one of the top tight ends in the draft next year and probably bring a guy in free agency if they keep Dak Prescott. Because right now, I think the only thing lacking from their offense is Dak Prescott. And what is happening, like you mentioned, Dallas Goedert is heating up slowly. Like, no one's talking about him, like you said. Like, he's had 2 good games, I think, the back-to-back. I think he had 2 games back-to-back good. He had this one and the previous one. The Jet game, I think he played pretty well. So that's another weapon that the Eagles are going to incorporate. Did we forget that they signed Julio Jones now to the active roster? I mean, there's so many
touchdown last week. Had a touchdown on Sunday.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Rich get richer, Giants get poorer. Cowboys, this is on you, man. If the narrative has three ways to go. Someone said there was three forks in the road for the Giants, where there was one where they win, they get back in the playoffs, they win the game, but they're competent down the stretch, which is I think what's going to happen with the Giants. They're competent, but they're not good. And then they have a complete disaster. I think the same thing applies here. There are three scenarios you have. Cowboys win. They're top the NFC East. No one can talk anything other than not only the NFC East, but the NFC. No one can say anything. They'll be the top dog, right? They can lose this game, which is option two, where they lose the game. It's a close game, but they know they can hang with the Eagles, and they'll get them next time in Dallas, right? Which is scenario that I think is probably going to play out. Scenario two for them. Scenario three is they get absolutely annihilated, and they're mentally weak against big teams, and then we're really going to have to question the Cowboys going forward. I think it's going to be at least the top two. Either they're going to win the game, outright, or they're going to play a good game, but just the Eagles are slightly better, because of the talent around them. So the Cowboys will lose. Let's say the Cowboys lose 24-31 or something like that, or 21-27, something like that, because Jake Elliott hits a 60-yard field goal or something. I think strategy-wise, Eagles have – if I'm the Cowboys defensively, my strategy is get to Jalen Hurst. Make him uncomfortable. Don't worry about it. That's what the Jets did the previous week. That's what the Commanders tried to do last week. You got to get him off his spot. You got to disrupt him a little bit. You got to force him to be quick. It's hard to do, hard task. And then offensively, against their defense, make sure you have drives and come away with sevens. Okay? Don't turn the ball over. Because if they have a clean game, the Cowboys, one pick here or some fluky interception, those things happen, where, a guy tips off a guy's hand or, bounces off a guy's helmet or some shit. Fine. I'm not going to be mad about that turnover, but don't be sloppy with the football. Like I said, this game for the Cowboys means a lot more than it does to the Eagles. Eagles need the game, right, to stay ahead. But if they lose, it's not going to be any skin off their back. But if the Cowboys win, we could be talking about a different mindset. Like, oh, crap, we knocked off the best team in football. We knocked off the best team in the NFC. Now we're the best team in the NFC. It could go a long way.
It could. I mean, this is definitely a matchup that I'm looking forward to. I am kind of salty that they play at the same time as the Giants, because, like you said, I'll be watching the Giants' putrid offense. Yeah,
well, we'll be getting the in-game highlights, right? They'll break in from Fox or whatever they're saying, and they're like, "Oh, the Cowboys and Eagles are up 14-14 in the first quarter." Meanwhile, you go back to they'll be like, "Thanks, Susie," or whatever the Thompson, and they'll go back to our game, and they'll be like, "Now back to the Raiders Giants, which is 3-0." You know what
I mean? It could be another game just like that. Absolutely could be. But as far as this matchup, man. Which way do I want to go here, man? Which way do I want to go? I hate both of these fan bases. I really, really do.
But hey, take your fanhood out of it. This is for the show. Take your fanhood out of it.
But I think the Dallas Cowboys win this. I think the defense is the difference. I think the pass rush wrecks the game. I think the Dallas Cowboy pass rush will absolutely wreck this game for the Philadelphia
Eagles. In here, he'd be fighting with you right now.
and I believe the Cowboys win this football game on Sunday, and pull even with the Eagles and kind of take over that little bit of momentum in the NFC East.
Wow, that would be epic if the Cowboys and Eagles switch places from last year, right? Cowboys are the 1 seed. Eagles are the 5th seed. My God, that this game could go a long way in determining that factor. Like I said, with the 49ers losing and coming back down to earth a little bit with their quarterback, this is a chance for one of these two NFC East teams to really cement themselves. I'm going to go with the Eagles, but I'm going to go with, like I said, option B for the Cowboys. They're going to keep it close. I mean, it's going to look like a good game, and the Cowboys may win, but the Eagles somehow find a way. If the Cowboys play like the Jets, mind you, they beat the Jets and the Eagles did not, right? Now, I'm not saying these are two parallels, but if you're in the film room and you're a Cowboy coach and you're reviewing the film, you got to look at these things. Like, well, what did we do against the Jets that they didn't do that maybe we can exploit? What did the Jets do that we could do to exploit? I mean, the Jets have an incredible defense. It's I know firsthand, Mac and I know firsthand, we saw it live in person. They have an absolutely incredible defense. But so do the Cowboys. They have solid players on there too. Now, the big part about this game is Micah Parsons. The Eagles were able to neutralize Micah Parsons last year. I wonder if Dan Quinn has anything up his sleeve to kind of get him going this game. Because if Micah Parsons gets going and he's a disruptor, he doesn't have to necessarily get sacks, but he's in the backfield, he's doing tackles for losses, he's getting other guys sacks. It could be a long day at the office for the Eagles. If not, I think the Eagles, like I said, I think the Eagles are going to win this game, but it's going to be closer than people think. The Eagle fan I talked to, you know who it is. He loved him to death, but he thinks they're going to stop a mud hole in the Cowboys. And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily believe they're going to get blown out in this game because I think they've been waiting for 2 games: the 49er game, which they blew, and it's on their mind, and now this game. And I think they want to really kind of, you know, because didn't they beat the Eagles last year, but they had Gardner Minshew?
I can't remember offhand.
I think last year Gardner Minshew played.
I think they did. You're right. I think they did. They won the game when Gardner Minshew started, I believe.
And I think this will be the first time Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts, I think, square off against each other. It could be the first or second time. I think one of because the last time Cooper Rush played against the Eagles, and then Dak came back in the second half of the year, but Jalen Hurts was gone the second half of the year. And then this year, you have them both healthy. So, you know, like I said, Dak Prescott is coming off his last 2 games. He's played pretty well. Let's see if he can carry that momentum. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I would not be surprised if Dak Prescott plays well in this game because I feel like the Charger game something clicked. Something just was like, you know, guys getting funks, you know, and things like that happen. And I think Dak Prescott last year, he was in his funk. He was in his funk a little bit. He got injured. You know, they're winning. There's a quarterback controversy, all this nonsense. And I think this year he started off pretty slow, you know, learning Mike McCarthy's offense. Then changed much, really. But, you know, getting to learn his cadence in his ear, how he calls a game, the things like that. And I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes out and has 150 yards like he did against the 49ers and wilts like a tulip in the wintertime. But I also believe, like, he has 2 good games back-to-back. I think he carries over into this Eagle game. And I think if you're a Cowboy fan, the worst result you want is a loss, but we play close. Best result is we won. Extremely best result is you annihilate them and blow them off out of the water. But if you're, like I said, you just want to say right now, hey, we're on the road. If we don't win this game, let's be competitive, which is not something you want to hear, but this is what I'm saying. Just be competitive enough where you're like, yo, we can beat them next time. We just got to make our corrections. But, like I said, here's the but. If we want to blow the doors down and you want to basically put your flag down in the sand and say, we're the team to beat, the Super Bowl journey for the NFC is going to come through Dallas. This is the game you need to win.
I mean, they absolutely do. This has to be a statement game for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it just does. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to win this game to truly be taken seriously as a true contender for the Super Bowl, man. They have to. I mean, this is a must win for the Dallas Cowboys.
Otherwise, they're just a playoff team that's going to go to either Philadelphia or San Francisco and lose. If they win this game, like their destiny is out in front of them. I don't know if they're going to wilt under the pressure. But if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm walking into the meeting room on Saturday night, and I'm going to give my speech. And I'm going to say, fellas, your destiny is in your hands. Go out and get it. If you want to be the best team in the NFC, go beat the best team in the NFC. There will be no questions asked. There will be no one to doubt you. You will have the top record in the NFL, let alone the NFC. And
you'll be the best team. You'll be number 1 in the power rankings next week. What the winner of this football game will be number 1 in pretty much all the power rankings next week. And I mean, it is what it is. Whatever, take that for whatever it's worth.
Right. So if you're Mike McCarthy, you're saying everything's out in front of you. Go get it. The Eagles don't have anything out in front of them. They're already won. They're playing. They're just paying. They're trying to play for the top seed. That's what they're doing. They already know they've been NFC East champs. Right? This is a game where you're the Cowboys. If I'm Mike McCarthy, I give my best Gipper speech. Win one for the Gipper speech. Whatever speech you got, whatever motivational tag. If you have to bring in Michael Jordan himself, and motivate your team to get in that mindset of this game is not only a must win, but it is the win. It could propel us into the stratosphere that we need to be. Do it. I'm just saying, like that's how you have to approach it. If you're the Cowboys, this is your NFC Championship game right here. That's how you have to think about it. I know you play again in December, and that could also be the game. But right now, we don't know what's going to happen in December. Take it right now.
You got to make your statement right now this week. There's no wait until December for another matchup. No, you got to make your statement right now in their on their field in Philadelphia Lincoln Financial Stadium field.
And I'm telling you, they win, they're going to be the national darlings. They're going to be the team. They're going to be picking them to go to the Super Bowl. They win this game. I'm telling you right now. And I picked the Cowboys to myself. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Like I said, Cowboys, Miami. That was my sleeper picks. I was like, oh, I just threw it out there because I looked at the two teams. I'm like, Miami's pretty good. They got Vic Fangio. Dallas is on a rebound. That's their mission. If that I'm just saying right now, Cowboys, I would love to be in your position right now. As a Giant fan, I am not in your position because we don't do things correctly. And if I'm the Cowboys, seize the moment. Carpe diem. Take it right now. If you want the NFC, because it doesn't matter what happens in December. You win this game now, right, in November, and you go on and you beat the Giants, because the Eagles right now are in their hardest part of their schedule. That's why you have to win this game now, because you can't rely on December. If you beat them now, and let's say they stumble against Kansas City or Buffalo, right, and you play the Giants and like the Commanders, like these easier teams, you can start to separate yourself from the pack and have that game up on them. That by the time the December game happens, maybe they have the same amount of losses as you. Maybe they have more losses than you, and you can now be like, all right, you can afford to, let's say, slip up if you want, right? But win the game now, and you control everything in front of you. I mean, let's just look at the Dallas schedule real quick and see, because I know the Eagles play a brutal schedule right now coming up. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, if you're worth your weight in gold, Mike McCarthy, you're putting up banners, flyers, you're letting everybody know, because the Cowboys right now, they have the Eagles at 425, and then they have another American game of the week with the Giants at 425, then the Panthers, Commanders, and then the Seahawks. So essentially, before you play the Eagles again, right, you have three teams against low-life teams. You could easily separate yourself. Now, those are the three games up until December 10th, right? Let's go look at the Eagles schedule, and now we'll get to some real action right now, right? So the Eagles, who do they come off? All right, so I know I'm rambling on, Mac, but they play the Cowboys, they play the Chiefs, they play the Bills, and they play the 49ers before going back to playing the Cowboys again. So there is a chance for this Cowboy team to really, if you win this game, by the time that December game happens, you can have the division all but locked up.
Facts. Big opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys for sure. I mean, like I said, this to me is a prove it game. Everybody knows that they're a good football team, but are they truly great? Are they truly championship? Are they truly a championship team? These are the games you got to go out there and win. You got to go out there, prove it, and make a statement. Like I said, I got the Cowboys. I think the defense, I think the pass rush wrecks the game, and I think the Dallas Cowboys pull this one out. Who did you have officially?
I have the Eagles in this game. I have the Eagles in this game because they're the Eagles, and I think they need this game right now more than the Cowboys, because like I told you, the Cowboys have three teams where they can get to right now. What are they? They have 6 wins or 6-2 or some shit, or 5-2, right? Let's say they lose to the Eagles, 5-3. You beat the Giants, you beat the Panthers, and you beat the Commanders. Now you're at 8-3. Okay. And you know that the Eagles could possibly, stumble at the gate. Let's say they have Kansas City and Buffalo. Let's say they lose to San Francisco and they lose to Kansas City again. And they beat Kansas City, but they lose to Buffalo. So they're 2-2 in their stretch. And they meet you at 8-3. You know what I mean? You want to be able to have that game. That's why I think they need this game, because the December 10th game for me is when the rubber will meet the road for the division. I do believe that will be the game because I think the Cowboys, they'll lose this game, they'll bounce back and beat the Giants like they always do when they're from a heartbreaking loss. Beat the Giants, they're going to then beat the Panthers, make Young a fit. They'll beat the Commanders, make Hal's Day a fit. Then they'll come back and play the Eagles, and that'll be for the division because the Eagles are going to have some tough games ahead of them. And I don't think they win. I don't think they sweep all Kansas City, Buffalo, and the 49ers. I think they win. They win at least one. I don't know about two, but at least one. But if they lose two of those games and beat the Cowboys, that game against December 10th is going to be enormous. And if the Eagles happen to win those games, and you win your games, right? Because I think at least, let's say the Eagles go 2-1, right? So they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, they beat Bills, and they lose to the 49ers. They meet you, right? So now they're what? They would be 9-2 at this point. Cowboys will be 8-3. Either way, these next two games for the Cowboys are epic. If they win this game, I'm telling you, if they win this game, Cowboys win the division. If they win this game. And then we'll find out what will happen a couple weeks from now when the game happens again. Because I think, like I said, dude, Cowboys have it out in front of them. Win this game, and destiny's on your side.
Well, we shall see, man. It's definitely going to be quite the humdinger on Sunday afternoon at 4 in the 4 o'clock window, man. Cowboys, Eagles. It don't get no better than this, man. This Sunday, man. You are going to be treated to a great one as an NFL fan on Sunday for this one, man. I feel like this game will absolutely live up to all the hype, that all the build up, man. This is
the best game of the year.
Big one right here. Absolutely has that.
I hope it is.
Definitely has that kind of potential.
I hope it is because I know we built up one of these other games early on, but I really hope it is because we're really we're in the second half of the year. We're past week 8. We're going to week 9. That's the halfway point. Okay, in my eyes. I know we go 17 games and soon it'll be 18 and we're still in week 9. We're at the halfway point regardless, right? This is where you're going to start to see who separates themselves from the division races and then also who separates themselves in some of the playoff races. Right? I know the Giants are looking at their schedule. We're not even talking about you. You guys can't even score fucking 11 points. Get out of my wheelhouse, right? But these other teams, Cowboys and Eagles, they're going to be in it. And like I said, I haven't felt this way about it. Like I want to believe in my heart of hearts the Eagles are going to win this game. But after you're talking, Mac, and after me thinking, I'm like, man, if Mike McCarthy can somehow find a way to motivate these guys to win this game on Sunday and they come away with a win on the road in Philly, oh my God. If I'm a Cowboy fan, I would be giddy. I would be giddy because at that point there's probably no other, unless you are an absolute clusterfuck, catastrophe, right? You have, like I said, the only other hard games on their schedule for the Dallas Cowboys after that stretch is Seahawks will be tough, Eagles will be tough again. They have the Bills, they have the Cowboys, they have the Dolphins, they have the Lions, and they have the Commanders, right? So basically, they have to get ahead of it. If you beat the Eagles in this game, beat the Giants, beat the Panthers, beat the Commanders, you don't matter what happens with the Seahawks because the Eagles still have to play the Seahawks. So there'll be a lot going on in front of you to get you to this game. To be there, I'm just saying. I don't know, I'm just excited. I'm excited.
You said the Cowboys play the Panthers?
Yeah, they played the Panthers.
The Panthers came in second place last year in that division. That division was terrible. Oh my God, that division was terrible.
But listen to this stretch of games: 2-6 Giants, 1-7 Panthers, 3-5 Commanders. Right?
Oh wow!
A combined win total of 6. Meanwhile, the Eagles play their games against their next 3 games after this one. So after the Cowboy game, they play the Chiefs, the Bills, and the 49ers. 5, and I think 6 wins with the Chiefs, right? So that's at least 15, 16 wins you've got going on against the Cowboys, who their next 3 opponents have a combined 6 wins.
Wow. I was just curious before we get ready to wrap things up in a little bit, but I was just curious about these trades, the trade deadline, man. Washington I feel like they got enough for their two pass rushers, man. They're two very very good pass rushers.
Do I think they got enough? You'll never know if they got enough. I mean, they obviously, to me, got the best offer because they're dumping guys. They're clearly not trying to, quote unquote, win. They're trying to, in a stock draft, have ammunition in case they need a quarterback. Not saying they will, but this draft is stocked at all. We talk about the quarterbacks in this draft. This entire draft is, ripe for the picking with a lot of players. So let's say the Commanders win, 2 more games, right? That would put them at like 5 wins. I think the Giants are going to probably win 4 more games or 3 more games, right? So I think they're both end around 5 wins, right? If Sam Howell goes on to throw for 4,200 yards and 26 touchdowns and whatever, you really got to consider him as like, maybe we have a guy here, right? So then it becomes, now you're picking luxury picks. So do I think they got enough for him? I think they got enough to use for a trade up if they need. Let's be honest, they're not doing what we do. We essentially paid for a second round pick. We paid $9 million for Seattle's second round pick. That's what we did, because we ate the money for the Williams contract, right? We ate that money. So with that being said, you get more for doing that. If they were to like, hey, we'll eat Montez Sweat's money and whoever else, wherever Chase Young went, I forget where he went to the 49ers, we'll eat that money, right? You got to think the 49ers third round pick, not going to be that far. However, the Chicago Bears first round pick, that shit's going to be prime for the picking. So you'll have another guy in the top 100 in the draft to go up there. So I mean, I think was it a good deal? Could they have held out for more? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think these teams knew that the Commanders are desperate. They know they're going to offload them. So they say, how about a third round pick? Probably throwing it out there and like, sure, fine, whatever. So, I mean, if they were gotten for like a 5th round pick, I would be like, they're getting fleeced. But what they're doing is stacking picks in the top 100 so they can at least move up.
Yeah, man. I mean, kind of agree. I mean,
good question.
At that point, you're talking about it was literally on the day of the deadline. You got to believe those are probably pretty much where the best offers coming through. I mean, it's just that.
But what's Chicago doing? I don't understand that. I mean, if you want to talk about
who knows what Chicago's doing.
If you want to talk about the trade on the opposite end of the spectrum, what the hell are the Chicago Bears doing? But to answer this question for Adam, assuming the Giants are going quarterback in the draft, who's your guy? Man, I have so many guys that I would love to bring in here. The list is very long. I don't think the Giants are going to be close enough to get Caleb Williams or Drake May. And I don't think you're necessarily going to have to pick those 2 guys to get a good quarterback. There's a lot of them that are going to be throughout the draft. I'm going to preface this real quick. The Giants, I believe, if they're in the top 10, are going to pick a quarterback or trade out a little bit and acquire more picks, but they are leaving this draft class with a quarterback. One of the guys to keep an eye on, J.J. McCarthy. People aren't going to like him, but he's one guy that I'm hearing, if he plays well against Penn State and Ohio State, look for his name to move up the board. Michael Penix Jr. I absolutely love, but he's a little older. His leg is a little banged up. Bo Nix out of Oregon, I think he's playing good. I'm also looking into Dane Brugler's top 50 came out. He has the Georgia quarterback in his top 50 over a guy like Bo Nix and things like that. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how he's going to play out. But my target for the Giants is probably J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, or Michael Penix Jr. at the moment if you're going in the first round. And second and third round, well, there's a guy that I like that if he's in the 4th round, I'd take it. His name is Joe Milton from Tennessee. He's not a bad player right now. He's more of a runner and a passer, but he's got the Anthony Richardson type of stuff. But, yeah. Sunday's a win, and we about to turn up the second half, led by Jones, in my opinion. Okay, well, good. I mean, that's fine. Believe that. But we're 2-6. The probability of going to the playoffs is 4%. So good luck. I mean, Jones didn't do anything the first 7 games. If he plays well against the Raiders, he has to beat the Cowboys, the Eagles, and those big and the Saints for me to care about him winning. Sorry. I know why you want Jones to be well. You want to keep Jones. You don't want to get a new quarterback. I get it. It's time to move on, bro. We're 2-6. I'm sorry. We're 2-6. We'll probably be 3-6. Lose to the Cowboys, be 3-7. What is it going to prove if we get our ass kicked by the Cowboys? We beat the Raiders, right? So it is what it is. Hope that answered your question, though, NYG. I have a couple guys I'm looking at, and I believe they're going to move on regardless, because however you like Jones or not, he's got a neck injury, and who knows if he finishes the season, with this banged up offensive line with the Giants. So I would invest in that quarterback heavily next year. It depends on where you're drafting. If they're drafting in the top 10, absolutely. If they're in the top 15, I think they'll still get one. And the guy, like I said, keep an eye on J.J. McCarthy.
Well, I mean, what's going on, Miz? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Definitely appreciate it. I know you said you can't hear us, but thanks nonetheless. Thinks the G-Men gonna win 24-16 on Sunday. Well, look, man, I'll be happy with the W, but 24 points seems like a far stretch for what we've seen from this offense all season long. So, I mean,
Right.
I hope we do get the W, though.
It's funny because it's like, oh, Jones is going to come in. Like, yeah, he hasn't played well this season. Okay, it's not like he's coming in, and I haven't seen second half Jones in Arizona since Arizona, right? Like, I'm not gonna, and I know how the narrative is going to play out. This is how it's going to look, right? Jones comes out, has a solid game. Everyone's going to say, oh, keep him, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Giants going to go on a playoff run, da, 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 da. Then he'll play poorly against the Cowboys. And then the other side of the fan base will be like, see, we're going to move on. And they're going to be like, well, he didn't have Darren Waller and, Jalen Hyatt ran the wrong route. And there'll be an excuse after that, right? Then they'll beat the Commanders and say, see, we won again, Daniel Jones, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll lose to the, we'll beat the Patriots and here we go. We're 4-6, we're 4-8, 4-7, whatever the number is at this point. We're going to the playoff. Yay! And then we'll lose to the Saints. Then we'll lose to the Eagles, right? Then we'll lose to the Eagles again because they're going to need that game. So then we're out of contention. But we end up like 7-10, and people are going to want to run it back. So for me, I love Shedeur Sanders, but I doubt he's coming out. But that's just me, and I'm just saying, like, I know people want to be optimistic, but you're 2-6. How many 2-6 teams made the playoffs?
I can't imagine many. Can't imagine many.
And there's like 4 or 5 teams in front of us for the 7th wild card spot. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? To get to the playoffs? No, just this season's bottoming out. Just let it play out. If you lose, great, move on. You get a new quarterback, you get some new tools, you move on, and that's it. And then next year, you hope that you are competitive and you win 6 or 7 games and kind of right the ship. But like the fact that we're sitting here trying to talk about the playoffs as if Daniel Jones has done wonders this season. The guy has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Okay, he didn't play well against bad defenses, i.e. Seattle and i.e. Miami, in both those outings. And this defense is comparable to both of them. I think what you're going to see in this game, and I hate to get back to this, is that you're going to see what they tried to do last year. Run the football, dink and dunk passing, that type of shit, play close to the vest so the defense wins the game. It's not going to be pretty. You're not going to love it. It's probably going to barely get you 20 points in the game. Like, where are the points coming from? Waller's out. He's out. What has Jalen Hyatt done? Daniel Jones has no outlet now. He's not going deep. He doesn't go deep that much. The first time he went deep was against Miami. Really, threw it deep downfield. So now you're telling me against a better defense in the Raiders, who play good defense, Max Crosby, an absolute animal, that he's going to now step back in the pocket and make it? Yes, I agree with your last 2 points. Let's get back before we close the show. Let me end with these 2. Yeah, I keep hearing J.J. McCarthy's name. If Shedeur Sanders is coming out, he'd be my guy, but we'll see. I do agree with you, Adam. I think Jones is done in New York. He'll be the bridge guy for the next QB next year. I agree with that 100%. I think people who think he's going to be off the team next year don't have it right. You keep the guy on the team because you have an out, and you just kind of let him usher in, and if your season sucks, you put the new kid in, And then the last point, at some point you have to move on. Clearly it isn't working, whether it's Jones' fault or not. We have to pivot at this point. If the season continues to bottom out the way it is, absolutely. Absolutely.
Look, it's time to move on. Point blank, period. He's not the guy. There's nothing more to see no more. He's not the guy for this season.
I don't want to hear about the next 9 games as an evaluation for Jones.
I
Sorry.
don't care what he does in the next 9 games. I don't care. It has to be like, unless he's gonna throw like 25 touchdown passes in the next 9 games and no interceptions and take us to some miraculous playoff run. I don't care anymore.
Like a playoff run. I don't want to get to the playoffs and then head to Philly or San Francisco or Dallas and get railroaded out and be like, oh, we made the playoffs. No. Let's not focus on let's focus on how the season started. Because right now, I mean, like, I'm just saying, we're a bad football. People don't accept it, but we're a bad football team. Okay? Our defense is playing pretty well right now with these last 3 games, but we scored 10 points a game. That's 32nd in the league. We have 4 touchdown passes on the year. That's less than a touchdown pass a game right now. Like, what are we talking about here?
Look, it's just time to totally rebuild this team from the bottom up, man. You got to rebuild it all the way up from the foundation, man. It's got to give up already. You know, rip off the Band-Aid. It's time to tear it up, man.
Well, once you start that transition, I think you can start to move into better days ahead, because it's like, all right, finally we know this guy is not great. He's not the only problem on this team, but once you rip that Band-Aid off or start to peel it off, then you can say, okay, now we can move on. We can get on with our giant lives and try out this kid. And guess what? If the kid doesn't work out, you move on to the next kid. It happens across the league, but you just can't keep sitting here spinning your wheels and expecting a different result and then saying he's going to rise to the ashes like a phoenix. When 4 out of the last 5 years, he hasn't done that. 4 out of the last 5 years, he's been injured. He's got 2 neck injuries, right? That alone right there, where he's missed significant time, you know, in those games. The 3 games that he missed, if you're in them, we'd probably win those games. 2 out of those 3. And I don't even like him. And that's what I'm saying.
Well, we will see. But look, everybody, thanks for tuning in with us on a different night, Thursday night this week. Sorry about that. Once again, we'll be back on that regular time, regular night next week, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. Thank you all in the chat. Unpopular Opinion Sports, my guy. Make sure y'all go sub up. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Miz coming through, man. Raphael, thanks for stopping through, man. Appreciate you guys. Big Simple, Wales. My guy, Philly B.
Wales.
Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx, man. Everybody, man, coming through, hanging out, checking us out. Me and Adam, man, once again, definitely appreciate it. And we will be back, like I said, next Wednesday at our regular time, 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday. And we'll see you then. Peace.
Good night.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, MacDaGiantsFan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at MacDaGiantsFan. That's MacDa Giants Fan.